She was 19 years old, 1 year of college, 0 medical degree, 0 experience, 0 functioning technology. So she dropped out of Stanford and promised she could revolutionize medicine with a magic blood testing machine. Investors gave her $700 million. Forbes called her the youngest self-made female billionaire, worth $9 billion. She was on magazine covers, dining at the White House, flying private jets. She wore black turtlenecks like Steve Jobs. She lowered her voice to sound authoritative. And she convinced the smartest people on Earth that she could run 240 medical tests from a single drop of blood. There's just one problem. The machine didn't work. It never worked. And she knew it the entire time. This is Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos, the blood testing startup that promised to change healthcare forever. Spoiler alert, it did. Just not how anyone expected. Let's talk about the greatest con in Silicon Valley history. The Fake It Playbook. Elizabeth Holmes is a 19-year-old Stanford freshman with a revolutionary idea, a device that runs hundreds of medical tests using just a finger prick. No more needles, no more vials of blood. Brilliant idea, just one tiny problem. She has absolutely no clue how to build it. But this is Silicon Valley, baby. You don't need a working product, you just need confidence and PowerPoint slides. So Holmes drops out after freshman year and starts a company called Real-Time Cures, which is hilariously ironic because the cures were definitely not real-time and arguably not real at all. She changes the name to Theranos, starts wearing only black turtlenecks, Steve Jobs cosplay basically. And here's where it gets weird. She begins speaking in this unnaturally deep voice, like she swallowed gravel for breakfast. People who knew her before say her natural voice is much higher. But the deep voice works. It makes her sound serious, authoritative, like a CEO who definitely knows what she's talking about. She doesn't, but she sounds like she does. And in Silicon Valley, that's honestly half the battle. By 2004, Theranos raises $6.9 million. By 2010, over $92 million. By 2014, the company is valued at $9 billion. She's on magazine covers, giving TED Talks, living in a $15 million mansion, all without a single working product. Well, they did have a product, the Edison, named after Thomas Edison. Fun fact, Edison famously said, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Holmes took that quote very literally, because the Edison didn't work either. The world's most expensive paperweight. The Edison was supposed to run 240 different medical tests from a few drops of blood. Cholesterol, cancer markers, HIV, pregnancy hormones, everything. Here's the problem. The Edison was about as useful as a chocolate teapot. It didn't work. At all. Not even a little bit. Internal documents later revealed Theranos could only run about 15 tests on its own technology, and even those were wildly inaccurate. So what did they do with patient blood samples? They ran them on traditional machines. You know, the ones made by actual medical device companies, the ones that weren't garbage. Basically, Theranos was just a very expensive middleman with a fancy name. But they were still charging patients, and the tests were often dangerously wrong. One woman was told she had a precursor virus to AIDS. She didn't. Pregnant women got inaccurate hormone readings. Cancer patients got unreliable results. This wasn't just fraud. This was Russian roulette with people's health. But Holmes had a secret weapon, a board of directors so impressive it was basically political royalty. The dream team of people who knew nothing. Theranos' board reads like a who's who of American power. Henry Kissinger, former Secretary of State. George Shultz, another former Secretary of State. James Mattis, future Secretary of Defense. William Perry, former Secretary of Defense. Notice anything? They're all incredibly powerful, incredibly rich, incredibly old, and have exactly zero background in medicine or biotechnology. It's like assembling a basketball team entirely of accountants. Sure, they're good at what they do, but can any of them dunk? No, they cannot. This board couldn't evaluate whether the technology worked. They just took Holmes at her word. George Shultz became her biggest champion. He invested millions. He introduced her to powerful friends. He believed in her vision. His grandson, Tyler, actually worked at Theranos, and Tyler noticed something was wrong. Tests weren't working. Results were manipulated. Patients were at risk. Tyler tried to warn his grandfather. George didn't believe him. He believed Elizabeth. George Shultz chose a 19-year-old college dropout over his own grandson. Spoiler, Tyler was right. Grandpa was wrong. Awkward family dinners ensued. Meet Sunny, the worst. Now meet Ramesh, or Sunny Balwani, 19 years older than Holmes. They met when she was 18, he was 37. He became her boyfriend and Theranos' president. Sunny had zero background in medicine. His previous job? E-commerce software during the dot-com boom. So naturally, he was put in charge of the lab. Employees described him as tyrannical. He'd scream at people, fire them for asking questions. One employee said if you raised concerns, you were marginalized or fired, sometimes both. Sunny was also into motivational business speak. He'd say things like, "We can't let the granularity of the biomolecular product interfere with the bigger picture," which sounds smart but means absolutely nothing. Corporate word salad. Holmes and Sunny kept their relationship secret from everyone because nothing says ethical business practices like the CEO secretly dating the COO who's creating a culture of fear in the lab. Together, they built a $9 billion house of cards. And then one journalist decided to blow on it. The fall. October 2015, John Carreyrou at the Wall Street Journal publishes a bombshell. Theranos was running tests on traditional machines. The Edison rarely worked. Results were dangerously inaccurate. Employees were terrified. Holmes's response? Deny everything. She went on CNBC and said Carreyrou was wrong, that this is what happens when you try to change the world. Except she didn't change the world. She just lied about blood tests. More articles came out. More whistleblowers emerged. The FDA investigated. In July 2016, the government banned Holmes from owning a medical lab for 2 years. The government literally said, "Elizabeth, you're so bad at this, we're putting you in timeout." Walgreens sued and ended their partnership. Investors demanded money back. The $9 billion valuation evaporated. Forbes revised Holmes's net worth from $4.5 billion to zero. Zero. From billionaire to broke in 1 quarter. In 2018, Theranos shut down. But the government had questions, like, "Hey, Elizabeth, did you commit massive fraud?" The answer was yes. Crime and punishment. June 2018, Holmes and Balwani are indicted on wire fraud and conspiracy. The trial didn't start until 2021, delayed by COVID, and also by Holmes getting pregnant twice, once before trial, once during. Some speculated sympathy play. You can't send a pregnant woman to jail. Spoiler, you can. Holmes testified she never intended fraud. She genuinely believed Theranos would work eventually. She also claimed Sunny abused and controlled her. Sunny's lawyers called this desperate. The jury didn't buy it. January 2022, Holmes convicted on 4 counts of defrauding investors, sentenced to 11 years and 3 months in federal prison. Sunny got convicted on all 12 counts, nearly 13 years. Both ordered to pay $452 million in restitution. Good luck with that. Holmes is broke. Maybe she can sell the black turtlenecks on eBay. The aftermath. The damage, $700 million lost. Investors included Rupert Murdoch, Betsy DeVos, the Walton family, all scammed. Medically, Theranos voided every single test it ever produced. Every single one. How many people got wrong diagnoses? How many made medical decisions based on faulty data? We'll never know. Silicon Valley took a hit. For years, the mantra was fake it till you make it. Theranos took that to its logical extreme. Fake it till you make $9 billion and then get arrested. But here's the thing. The culture that created Theranos still exists. Just a few years later, Sam Bankman-Fried convinced investors to give him billions for crypto. Also fraud, also prison. Apparently, we're slow learners.